In the fog-shrouded town of Eldridge, a mysterious boat rose itself, its dark carvings whispering secrets older than the stars. When young Jack climbs aboard, he's pulled into a cosmic tide respondent of ancient gods, forbidden maps, and visions of a world beyond, where the sea betrays and the abyss hungers. Will he resist the endless row or become one with the eternal darkness? Chapter 1. The mysterious arrival in the small town of Eldridge by the sea, where the waves crashed like angry giants against the rocky shore, lived a boy named Jack. He was not a boy anymore, really, but at 20 years old, he still felt like one. The town was old and creepy, with houses that leaned like they were tired from standing too long. Fog rolled in every morning, thick as soup, hiding the world until noon. People here were quiet, with eyes that held secrets from the ocean. They fished for a living, but the sea was mean, taking more than it gave. Jack's dad had been a fisherman, lost to a storm 5 years back. Now Jack lived with his mom in a tiny house on the cliff. She baked bread and mended nets, but her face was always sad, like the gray sky. Jack helped where he could, fixing boats or pulling crabs from traps. But he dreamed of adventure, of sailing far where the water met the stars. One chilly fall day, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky orange, Jack walked the beach alone. The sand was cold under his bare feet, and shells crunched like bones. He liked this time, when the tide pulled back and left treasures behind. Sometimes he found coins or bits of wood from wrecked ships. Today, the fog was extra thick, swirling around his legs like ghosts. As he wandered, something caught his eye. Far out on the wet sand, where the water lapped gently, sat a boat. It was small, maybe big enough for 2 people, made of dark wood that looked old as the hills. No paint, just carvings of weird shapes, swirls and eyes that seemed to watch him. The oars were tucked inside and there was no sail or motor. Strange thing was, it wasn't tied down, but it didn't drift with the waves. It just sat there, steady as a rock. Jack's heart beat faster. Who left a boat like this? He looked around, but the beach was empty. No footprints led to it, like it had washed up from nowhere. He stepped closer, the water soaking his pants. The boat rocked a tiny bit, but not from the waves. It was like it breathed. "Hello?" Jack called, feeling silly. No answer, of course. He touched the side and the wood felt warm, not cold like it should be from the sea. A shiver ran up his arm. Inside, the seats were dry, and at the bottom lay a small box, carved like the boat, with a latch that gleamed in the fading light. Curiosity burned in him. He climbed in, the boat dipping under his weight but not sinking low. It felt right, like it was made for him. He picked up the box and opened it. Inside was a folded paper, yellow with age. Unfolding it, he saw a map, not of any place he knew. Stars dotted it, connected by lines and strange words in a language he couldn't read. At the center was a drawing of a boat, just like this. One, rowing toward a big whirlpool under a night sky full of eyes. Jack's mind raced. Was this treasure or a joke? He stuffed the map in his pocket and grabbed the oars, but as he did, the boat moved. Not from his pull, it slid forward on its own into the water. Jack yelped and dropped the oars. The boat kept going, slow at first, then faster, cutting through the waves like a knife. Panic hit him. He jumped out, splashing into knee-deep water. The boat stopped, as if waiting. Heart pounding, he stared. "What are you?" he whispered. The fog thickened, and for a moment he thought he heard a low hum, like distant thunder, or a voice from deep below. He should have run home, told his mom or the old fisherman, but something pulled him back. Adventure, maybe, or fate. He climbed in again, and the boat rowed itself once more, taking him along the shore toward town. It was smooth, no splash from oars. They moved by themselves, dipping in and out like living arms. By the time he reached the dock, night had fallen. Stars twinkled above, brighter than usual. Jack tied the boat with shaky hands and ran home, the map burning in his pocket. That night, dreams came, of vast spaces between stars, where things older than time floated waiting to wake. Next morning, Jack woke early. The sun peeked through clouds, but the fog lingered. He ate breakfast quick, bread and fish, and told his mom nothing. She would worry. Instead, he slipped out to the dock. The boat was there, untied now, bobbing gently. Had he forgotten to tie it? Or did it untie itself? He got in, and again, it rode. This time, he let it go farther, out past the breakers. The sea was calm, like glass. Fish jumped nearby, silver flashes. But as they went deeper, the water darkened, from blue to black. Jack felt small, like a speck in a big world. Hours passed. The boat didn't tire. Jack ate an apple from his bag, watching the shore fade. The map in his pocket seemed heavy. He pulled it out, studying the stars. They looked like the ones above now, even in day. Weird. Suddenly, the boat stopped. Middle of nowhere, no land in sight. Waves lapped soft. Jack stood, looking down. Below, shadows moved. Not fish, bigger, with tentacles maybe. His skin prickled. Then a whisper, not in his ears, but in his head. "Row with us." He grabbed the oars, rowing hard back to shore. The boat fought at first, then gave in. By dusk, he was home, exhausted. But the pull was stronger now. That night, more dreams, of cosmic voids, where gods slept in oceans of space, their boats carrying souls to eternity. Days blurred. Jack snuck out daily, letting the boat take him. Each trip, farther. He saw things, glowing lights underwater, ruins of old cities poking from sandbars, birds that flew in patterns like the map's stars. The townfolk noticed him gone, whispered about the cursed boy. His mom asked questions, but he lied, saying he fished. One evening, as the boat rode through mist, Jack found a cove he never knew. Hidden behind rocks, it held a cave mouth, black as night. The boat headed straight in. Inside, walls glowed faint blue, from moss or something else. Deeper, carvings like the boat's, eyes, swirls, tentacles wrapping stars. At the end, a stone altar with a book open. Jack stepped out, boat waiting. The book was leather-bound, pages filled with the same strange words. Pictures showed boats, rowing to stars, people changing into sea creatures, skies cracking open. Touching the book, visions flooded him. Long ago, beings from beyond stars fell to earth, into the sea. They built boats from their flesh to carry chosen ones back. These boats rowed themselves, seeking souls pure or curious. Jack was chosen. He stumbled back, book in hand. The boat rowed out fast, as if scared. Back home, he hid the book under his bed. Sleep brought nightmares, of tentacles pulling him down, stars screaming, but the call grew. He couldn't stay away. The boat became his secret friend or master. Town legends spoke of such boats, luring fishermen to doom. Old Man Harper, the lighthouse keeper, warned Jack one day, "That boat ain't right, boy. It rows to places man shouldn't go." Jack ignored him. Adventure called louder. Weeks later, a storm brewed. Sky black, wind howling. Jack felt the pull strong. He went to the dock, boat waiting. It rode into the gale, waves towering. Lightning flashed, showing shapes in clouds, faces vast and cold. In the storm's heart, the boat spun. Jack clung, soaked. Then calm came sudden, eye of the storm. Above, stars shone wrong, too many, swirling. Below, the sea parted, showing a chasm with lights pulsing. A voice boomed in his mind. "Join the cosmic tide." Jack screamed, but the boat dove. Water closed over. Down they went, past fish and wrecks, to a city of crystal and bone. Beings waited, eyes like galaxies, bodies shifting. He woke on shore, gasping. Boat gone. But the map and book safe in his pocket. Was it real or dream? From then, Jack changed. Eyes distant, skin pale. He knew the boat would return. The cosmic pull was in his Blood now. Townfolk saw him stare at sea, whispering to waves. His mom cried, but he couldn't explain. The Gothic town felt smaller, the universe bigger and scarier, and in the fog, the boat waited, ready to row again. Chapter 2. Whispers from the deep. Jack couldn't shake the boat from his thoughts. It haunted him like a shadow that moved when he blinked. The strange dark vessel, with its carvings of eyes and swirls, seemed alive in his mind, whispering even when he lay in bed, staring at the cracked ceiling of his cliffside home. The town of Eldridge slept under a blanket of fog, the kind that made everything feel like a dream you couldn't wake from. But Jack was wide awake, his heart thumping with a mix of fear and excitement. The boat had rowed him out to sea on its own, and he'd seen things. Lights under the water, shapes that weren't fish. He'd found a map too, with stars and strange words. It was tucked under his pillow now, its edges worn, like it had been touched by 1,000 hands. That night, the wind howled outside, rattling the shutters. Jack's mom was asleep, her soft snores drifting from her room. He couldn't stay still. His feet itched, his hands twitched. The boat was calling. He felt it in his bones. Slipping on his coat and boots, he grabbed a lantern and crept out into the fog. The air was damp, smelling of salt and something older, like the breath of the sea itself. The dock wasn't far, just down the rocky path where the cliff met the shore. His lantern's light barely cut through the mist, making shapes twist and dance around him. Every creak of wood or splash of wave made him jump, but he kept going. The boat was there, bobbing gently on the black water. Its oars rested inside, still as statues, yet Jack swore they moved when he wasn't looking. The carvings seemed to glow faintly, or maybe it was the lantern's flicker playing tricks. He climbed in, heart pounding so loud he thought it'd wake the town. The boat rocked under his weight, then steadied. Without touching the oars, it slid forward, gliding smooth as a whisper. Jack gripped the sides, his knuckles white. "Where are you taking me?" he asked, voice shaky. No answer, just the soft lap of waves and a low hum, like a song from deep below. The boat rode past the breakers where the sea turned wild. But tonight the water was calm, a mirror reflecting the stars. Jack looked up, and his breath caught. The sky was wrong. Stars didn't twinkle. They pulsed, like tiny hearts. Some were too big, others too close, forming shapes that hurt his eyes to trace. He pulled the map from his pocket, its paper crinkling. The stars on it matched the ones above, lines connecting them into patterns that made his head spin. Words in that strange language seemed to wiggle, like they wanted to be read. The boat kept going, farther than last time. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt slippery out here. The shore was gone, swallowed by fog. Jack's lantern dimmed, but he didn't need it. The water glowed faintly, a sickly green light rising from below. Shapes moved down there, big and slow, their outlines blurred. Fish didn't move like that. These were heavier, gliding with purpose. Jack leaned over, peering into the depths. His reflection stared back, but for a second, it wasn't his face. Eyes too big, mouth too wide, skin shimmering like scales. He jerked back, heart racing. The boat rocked, as if laughing. Then the whispers started, not from the wind or waves, but inside his head, soft as a breeze but sharp as a blade. "Come deeper," they said. "See the old places." The voices weren't human, too low, too wet, like they came from throats full of water. Jack shook his head, trying to push them out, but they clung like damp moss. "We know you, Jack," they murmured. "You seek the stars. We can show you." He wanted to yell, to tell them to stop, but his voice stuck. The boat slowed, circling a spot where the water was blacker than night. Bubbles rose, popping with faint hisses. The whispers grew louder, telling stories of worlds lost long ago. They spoke of cities under the sea, built by creatures that swam between stars before the earth was born. These beings fell when their homes shattered, hiding in the deep places, waiting for someone to find them. "You found us," the voices said. "Row with us." Jack's hands shook as he grabbed the oars, wanting control. But the oars moved on their own, dipping in and out, pulling the boat toward the bubbles. Something broke the surface. A tentacle, thick as a tree trunk, covered in eyes that blinked in patterns. It glistened, not with water, but with a strange, oily sheen. One eye, big as a plate, locked on Jack. He froze, feeling it see through him, into his thoughts, his fears. The tentacle brushed the boat, gentle but cold, sending a shock up his spine. The whispers laughed, a sound like drowning. He screamed, dropping the oars. The boat spun, then stopped. The tentacle sank back, leaving ripples that glowed green. The whispers faded, but not gone. They waited, patient. Jack's chest heaved as he fumbled for the map. It felt warm now, almost alive. He stuffed it back in his pocket, hands trembling. "Take me home," he whispered. The boat obeyed, turning slow, rowing back toward Eldridge. The stars above dimmed, returning to normal. But Jack knew they weren't. By dawn, he was at the, dock, tying the boat with ropes that felt useless. The town was waking. Fishermen heading out, their voices muffled by fog. Jack stumbled home, legs weak. His mom was up, stirring porridge. "You're pale," she said, frowning. "Out all night again?" He nodded, muttering about fishing. She didn't believe him. He saw it in her eyes, but she let it go. In his room, Jack pulled out the map and a pencil. The Whispers' stories burned in his mind. He drew what they told him: paths through stars, seas that stretched across galaxies, cities of coral and bone hidden under waves. His hand moved fast, like it wasn't his own. The drawings were strange, full of spirals and eyes like the boat's carvings. When he finished, he hid the map and drawings under his bed, next to the book from the cave. Sleep didn't come easy. When it did, dreams waited. He saw the tentacle again, but bigger, wrapping the world. Voices sang of cosmic tides, pulling souls to places where time didn't exist. He woke sweating, the whispers still there, faint but real. "Come back," they said. Days blurred. Jack went to the boat every night, unable to resist. Each trip, the whispers grew clearer, telling more. They spoke of wars among stars, where gods fought and bled light. Some fell to earth, sinking into seas, their power locked in boats like his. These boats chose people, curious ones, brave ones, foolish ones, to carry them back to the stars. Jack was chosen, but why? He wasn't special, just a boy from a sad town. One night, the boat took him to a reef, glowing under moonlight. The water was shallow, and he saw ruins below, towers and arches, covered in moss that pulsed like it breathed. The whispers said, this was a piece of their city, broken off when the stars fell. Jack wanted to dive in, to touch it, but fear held him back. The boat circled, oars steady, as if showing him a gift. Back in Eldridge, people noticed Jack's change. His eyes were too bright, his skin too pale. Fishermen avoided him, muttering about curses. Old Harper, the lighthouse keeper, grabbed Jack's arm one day. "You been out in that boat, ain't you?" he growled, breath sour with tobacco. "Heard stories. Boats like that take men to places they don't come back from." Jack yanked free, saying nothing. Harper's words stuck, though, heavy as stones. At home, Jack's mom watched him closer. "You're not right," she said one evening, voice soft but firm. "What's got you, Jack?" He wanted to tell her about the boat, the whispers, the map, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, he hugged her, feeling her thin frame shake. He promised to stay home, but the lie tasted bitter. That night, the pull was too strong. He snuck out again, lantern forgotten. The boat was waiting, untied, as if it knew he'd come. It rode faster this time, cutting through waves like a blade. The sea opened, revealing a trench so deep it seemed to swallow light. The whispers roared now, not soft anymore. "Look below," they said. Jack did, and wished he hadn't. Shapes moved in the trench, huge, twisting, with limbs that didn't belong. Some had faces, or what might have been faces, with mouths that opened too wide. They sang, their voices joining the whispers, promising secrets of the universe. "Join us," they said. "Know all." Jack's mind buzzed, tempted. What if he could understand everything, stars, seas, life itself? But his gut screamed to run. He grabbed the oars, fighting the boat's pull. It resisted, jerking side to side. "No!" he shouted, voice lost in the wind. The boat slowed, then turned, rowing back. The trench's shapes sank, their song fading. Jack collapsed, panting, as the boat reached the dock. He tied it tight, hands shaking, and ran home, in his room. He pulled out his drawings. They were different now, lines sharper, eyes more real, like they watched him. The map glowed faintly, its stars moving. Jack slammed it shut, hiding it again. Sleep brought nightmares, tentacles pulling him down, stars exploding, voices laughing, as he drowned in light. Morning came, gray and cold. Jack avoided the dock, helping his mom instead. But the whispers stayed, soft in his ears, promising more. He knew he'd go back. The boat owned him now. The town felt smaller, its Gothic. Shadows darker. The sea was vast, and something in it wanted him. As he walked the beach that evening, fog rolling in, a new sound came. Not whispers, but a low drum, like a heartbeat from the deep. The boat was out there, waiting. Jack's feet moved before. He could stop them, toward the dock, toward the unknown. Chapter 3. Shadows on the Water. The fog in Eldridge clung to everything, like a cold, damp hand that wouldn't let go. Jack felt it on his skin as he stood on the cliff, staring at the sea. It was 2 days since the whispers in the deep, since the boat had shown him glowing ruins and a tentacle with eyes. The map under his pillow burned in his thoughts, its strange stars and words pulling him like a hook in his chest. He hadn't gone back to the boat, not yet, but it was out there, waiting at the dock. He could feel it, even from here, like a dog waiting for its master. The town was quiet, too quiet. Fishermen hauled nets, but their eyes flicked to Jack, quick and nervous. Whispers, not the seas, but the townsfolk's, followed him. That boy's touched, they muttered in the market. Seen him with that cursed boat. Jack ignored them, but their words stung. His mom's worry was worse. She'd stopped asking questions, just watched him with sad, tired eyes, like she knew he was slipping away. That evening, the sky turned bruise purple, clouds heavy with coming rain. Jack couldn't stay inside. The pull was too strong, a tug, in his gut that made his hands shake. He grabbed his coat, no lantern this time. The dark felt safer now. The path to the dock was slick with mist, rocks glinting like wet bones. The boat sat there, untied, its carvings catching moonlight in a way that made them seem alive. Eyes in the wood blinked, or so Jack thought, and his stomach twisted. He climbed in, the boat dipping gently. "All right," he whispered, voice swallowed by the fog. "Show me." The oars moved, silent and sure, pulling the boat into the black water. The sea was restless tonight, waves chopping at the sides, but the boat glided smooth, cutting through like it knew every current. Jack sat stiff, hands gripping the seat, waiting for the whispers. They came, faint at first, like wind through reeds. "Deeper," they said. "See the shadows." The boat rode farther than before, past the reef, past the trench. The water turned ink dark, no glow tonight, just a heavy stillness. Jack peered over the side, seeing nothing but his own pale face reflected. Then, something moved below. A shadow, long and thin, darting fast. Not a fish, not a shark. It was wrong, too fluid, like smoke with a mind. Another joined it, then more, circling under the boat. Jack's breath hitched. They weren't just shadows. They had shapes, half human, half something else. Arms, too. Long, heads too big, moving in ways that made his eyes ache. One broke the surface, slow and deliberate. A face, or what might have been a face, stared up. Its skin was pale as moonlight, stretched tight over sharp bones. Eyes like black pearls, too big, unblinking. Its mouth opened, wide and wrong, showing teeth like needles. No sound came, just a silent scream that hit Jack like a punch. He scrambled back, nearly tipping the boat. The face sank, leaving ripples that spread too far, too fast. The whispers laughed, low and wet. "They see you," they said. "They know you." Jack's heart hammered. He wanted to row back, but the oars moved on their own, taking him deeper. The boat stopped suddenly, over a patch of sea so still it looked like glass. Below, shadows gathered, more than before. They twisted together, forming something bigger, a shape that wasn't one thing but many, a mess of limbs and eyes and mouths, all moving as one. Jack's stomach turned. He clutched the map in his pocket, its edges sharp against his fingers. The boat rocked, and a new sound came. Not whispers, but a low hum, like a giant tuning fork struck deep below. The shadows pulsed with it, their shapes shifting faster. Jack saw flashes in his mind. A ship, old and broken, sinking in a storm. Men screaming as shadows pulled them down. A captain's face wild with fear, clutching a book like the one Jack found. The vision stopped, leaving him gasping. The boat moved again, toward a shape in the fog, a wreck, its mast jutting like a broken finger. The boat circled the wreck, close enough for Jack to see barnacles crusting the wood, glowing faintly blue. He leaned out, curious despite his fear. The shadows stayed below, watching. The boat nudged closer, and Jack saw something glint in the wreck's open belly. Treasure? He didn't know, but the pull was strong. He grabbed a rope from the boat, tied it to a cleat, and slid into the water. It was cold, biting through his clothes, but he swam to the wreck, heart pounding. Inside, the ship was a skeleton, of rotting wood and rusted metal. Fish darted away, their eyes catching his. Jack climbed through a hole, water up to his waist. The air smelled of salt and decay. In a corner, half buried in sand, was a chest, iron-bound and heavy. He pried. It opened, fingers slipping on wet metal. Inside were coins, dull and green, and bones. Human, he thought, though some were too long, too twisted. Under them, wrapped in oilcloth, was a diary. Its leather cover matched the book from the cave, carvings and all. Jack tucked the diary under his arm and swam back, the shadows circling closer now. One brushed his leg, cold and slick, and he kicked hard, panic rising. The boat was waiting, oars still. He climbed in, soaked and shaking, and the boat rowed away fast, as if scared. The shadows followed, their hum louder, vibrating in his chest. "Stay," the whisper said. "Join the deep." Jack shook his head, clutching the diary like a shield. Back at the dock, dawn was breaking, gray and weak. Jack hid the diary with the map and book under his bed. He didn't open it yet. Fear kept his hands still. Sleep came hard, filled with dreams of shadows climbing the cliff, their eyes glowing through his window. He woke at noon, the town alive with noise. His mom was at the market, so he slipped into his room and opened the diary. The pages were brittle, ink faded but readable. It was a captain's log from a ship called Star's End, dated 200 years back. The captain, Elias Black, wrote of finding a boat like Jack's, dark and carved, rowing itself. He followed it, drawn by promises of power. The shadows came to him too, offering secrets but taking his crew one by one. His last entry was frantic. "They are not shadows but keepers of the deep. They want my soul." The boat rose to doom. Jack slammed the diary shut, heart racing. The captain's words echoed Harper's warning. He wanted to burn the diary, the map, the book, all of it. But the pull was stronger. That night he stayed home, trying to ignore the boat's call. It didn't work. By midnight, he was at the dock again, the fog thicker than ever. The boat waited, its carvings seeming to writhe. This time the boat rode slow, as if testing him. The shadows were there, under the water, their hum steady. Jack saw them clearer now, bodies like men but with fins, tails, claws. One swam close, its face pressed to the surface, mouth moving like it spoke. The whispers translated, "You are ours." Jack gripped the oars, but they wouldn't budge. The boat stopped, and the shadows rose, surrounding him. Their eyes glowed, pulling at his mind, promising everything: knowledge, power, eternity. He screamed and the boat lurched, breaking free. It rowed back fast, the shadows chasing but falling behind. At the dock, Jack stumbled out, falling to his knees. The fog hid him, but he felt watched. Back home, he barred his door, though he knew it was useless. The shadows weren't just in the sea now. They followed him, lurking in corners in the dark spaces of the town. Morning brought no relief. The town felt different, its Gothic spires and crooked houses sharper, like teeth. Fishermen avoided Jack's eyes, but he saw fear in them. His mom cooked breakfast, silent, her hands trembling. "Stay away from the sea," she said finally, voice breaking. Jack nodded, lying again. He tried to work, fixing nets, but his mind was elsewhere. The diary's words gnawed at him, and the map's stars seemed to burn through the floorboards. At dusk, he walked the beach, avoiding the dock. The fog was alive, curling around him like fingers. Shadows moved in it, not sea shadows, but something else, shapes that flickered at the edge of sight. A voice, not the whispers, called his name, soft and cold. He ran home, heart in his throat. That night, the boat's pull was unbearable. Jack resisted, clutching the diary, reading it again. The captain had fought, too, but lost. "The boat chooses," he wrote, "and the shadows claim." Jack threw the diary down, but the words stayed. He knew he'd go back. The boat was part of him now, and the shadows knew it. As he lay in bed, the hum returned, louder, from the sea. The fog pressed against his window, and in it he saw eyes. The Gothic town, the endless sea, the cursed boat. They were closing in, and Jack was caught in their tide. Chapter 4. The forgotten map. Jack's room was a cage, the walls closing in, as the fog pressed against the window. The map, hidden under his bed with the book and the captain's diary, felt like a living thing, pulsing in his mind. Its strange stars and unreadable words haunted him, whispering even when the sea was silent. The boat waited at the dock. He knew it, felt it, but fear kept him inside. The shadows from the water, those half-human things with glowing eyes, followed him in dreams, their hum vibrating in his bones. Eldridge, with its crooked houses and suspicious townsfolk, felt like a trap now, its Gothic shadows sharper, darker. 3 days passed since the wreck. Jack avoided the dock, helping his mom mend nets or fetch water, but his hands shook and his eyes darted to the sea. The townsfolk whispered louder. "Cursed boy," they called him, touched by the deep. His mom's face was pale, her questions sharp. "What's wrong, Jack?" she asked over breakfast, her voice thin as thread. He mumbled about bad dreams, hating. The lie. The truth was too big, too strange. That night, the pull was unbearable. The map called, louder than the boat. Jack waited until his mom slept, then pulled it out, spreading it on the floor by candlelight. The paper was yellow, brittle, but the ink glowed faintly, like moonlight trapped in lines. Stars dotted it, connected by curves that twisted into spirals. At the center was the boat, rowing toward a whirlpool under a sky of watching eyes. Words in that strange tongue seemed to move, curling like smoke. Jack traced a line with his finger, and a shock ran through him, cold, electric, like touching the sea itself. He stuffed the map in his pocket and slipped out, the fog swallowing his steps. The dock was empty, the boat waiting, untied, its carvings glinting. Jack climbed in, heart pounding. "Show me where it leads," he whispered. The oars dipped, and the boat moved, gliding through waves that parted like curtains. The fog thickened, hiding the stars, but Jack felt them above, pulsing like the maps. The boat rode for hours, past familiar waters, into a sea so still it felt wrong. No wind, no birds, just silence heavy as stone. The map grew warm in his pocket, almost burning. Jack pulled it out, and the stars on it glowed brighter, matching the ones breaking through the fog. A line on the map pulsed, pointing ahead, where a shadow loomed. An island, small and jagged, hidden in mist. No one. In Eldridge spoke of islands here. It wasn't on any fisherman's chart. The boat nudged the shore, sand crunching under its hull. Jack stepped out, boots sinking in wet gravel. The island was small, barely a mile across, with black rocks sharp as knives. In the center, ruins rose, towers and arches crumbled but standing, carved with the same swirls and eyes as the boat. They glowed faint blue, like the wreck's barnacles. Jack's skin prickled. The air was heavy, smelling of salt and something sour, like old blood. He clutched the map, its lines guiding him to a temple, half sunken in sand. Inside, the air was cold, the walls slick with moss that pulsed like it breathed. A stone wall held a map, carved deep, matching the one in his hand. Stars, spirals. The boat, the whirlpool, all there but bigger, older. Words were carved below in that strange tongue. Jack touched them, and a voice, not the whispers, but deeper, like a drum in his chest, spoke in his head. Beware the row that leads. To void, he stumbled back, heart racing. The map in his hand burned hotter, and visions came. Flashes of seas that weren't Earth's, skies with too many stars, creatures swimming through space like fish. They fell to Earth long ago, their cities sinking, their boats left to find. New souls. The map was theirs, a guide to their lost places, a warning to those who followed. Jack's legs shook, but he explored deeper. In a corner, half buried, was a stone slab carved with runes that matched the map's words. He brushed sand away, revealing a slot, like it was meant to hold something. The map in his hand trembled, as if it wanted to fit there. He didn't try. Fear stopped him. But he took the slab, heavy as a child, and dragged it to the boat. The boat rowed back, faster now, as if eager to leave. The island faded into fog, like it never existed. Jack clutched the slab, its runes cold under his fingers. The whispers returned, softer, approving. You see, they said. You know. They told of cosmic wars where star beings fought, their blood making comets. Some were banished to Earth, trapped in seas, their maps guiding the chosen back. To them. Back at the dock, dawn was gray and weak. Jack hid the slab under his bed with the map, book, and diary. He didn't sleep. Couldn't. The visions lingered. Cities of light, gods with tentacle faces, boats rowing through stars. He drew what he saw, his pencil scratching fast, filling pages with spirals and eyes. The drawings felt alive, watching him. Morning came and Jack worked, avoiding his mom's eyes. The town felt smaller, its Gothic houses leaning closer, like they listened. Fishermen shunned him, their mutters sharp. Old Harper caught him at the market, eyes narrow. You went to the island, didn't you? He growled. Seen it in your face. That map's trouble, boy. Burn it. Jack pulled away, saying nothing. Harper knew too much, but how? At home, Jack studied the slab. Its runes glowed faintly, like the map. He traced them, and more visions came. A boat like his, carrying a man to avoid where stars screamed. The man changed, his body twisting, becoming one with the sea. Jack dropped the slab, hands shaking. Was that his fate? Night fell, and the boat called again. Jack resisted, barring his door, but the pull was a knife in his gut. He went. The fog. Thicker, the sea blacker. The boat rowed to a new place, a reef where water glowed green. Shadows moved below, not the half-human ones, but bigger, slower, with tentacles that stretched miles. The whispers sang of their power, their hunger. Join them, they said, know all. Jack fought the oars, forcing the boat back. It fought, rocking hard, but he won, reaching the dock by midnight. He ran home, the slab's weight in his mind. The map glowed under his bed, its stars moving faster. He didn't touch it. Couldn't. Sleep brought nightmares. The island sinking. The temple's eyes opening. A void swallowing him whole. Days blurred. Jack avoided the boat, but the town watched him. His mom cried, begging him to stay home. He promised, lying again. The slab hummed, the map burned, the diary's words echoed. The boat chooses. Jack felt chosen, but for what? Power? Doom? One evening, walking the beach, the fog parted, showing the boat, untied, waiting. A new sound came, a bell, low and mournful, from the sea. The map in his pocket pulsed, and Jack knew it wasn't just a map. It was a key, a chain, a curse. The Gothic town, the endless sea, the shadowed ruins, they were part of him now, pulling him to a place he couldn't name. Chapter 5. Night of Strange Stars. The air in Eldridge was heavy, like the town held its breath. Jack felt it, a weight on his chest as he sat on the cliff's edge, the sea below churning like a beast. The map, the book, the diary, and now the stone slab, all hidden under his bed, were like ghosts in his room, whispering when he tried to sleep. The boat waited at the dock, its pull stronger each night, a hook in his heart. The island's ruins, with their glowing carvings and warnings of the void, haunted him. The whispers from the deep, the shadows with too many eyes, the captain's frantic words, they swirled in his mind, mixing with the hum that never left his bones. It was a week since the island. Jack avoided the boat, staying home, helping his mom with chores. But his hands shook, and his eyes kept drifting to the sea. The town's Gothic spires seemed to lean closer, their shadows sharp as knives. Fishermen avoided him, their mutters, louder, cursed, mad, touched by the deep. His mom's face was pale, her eyes wet with worry. "You're not my Jack," she said one morning, voice breaking. He wanted to tell her about the boat, the map, the visions, but the words stuck. Lies were easier. That night, the sky was wrong. Jack saw it from his window, stars too bright, too many, pulsing like heartbeats. They didn't twinkle. They throbbed, forming patterns that matched the maps. He pulled it out, its paper warm, the stars glowing brighter than ever, lines twisted, pointing somewhere beyond the sea, beyond the world. The pull was unbearable, a fire in his gut. He grabbed his coat, slipping out as his mom slept, her snores soft in the quiet house. The fog was thick, curling like smoke around the path to the dock. The boat waited, untied, its carvings glinting under the strange stars. Jack climbed in, heart pounding. "Show me," he whispered, voice swallowed by the mist. The oars moved, silent and steady, pulling the boat into the black water. The sea was wild tonight, waves crashing, but the boat cut through, smooth as a blade. The stars above pulsed faster, their light cold, unnatural. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. Time felt broken. The boat rode far, past the reef, past the trench, into waters no fisherman dared. The sea calmed, turning to glass, reflecting the sky's wrong stars. Jack held the map, its lines glowing, guiding the boat. Then the sky exploded, not with sound but light. Meteors streaked red and green, hissing as they hit the sea. Water boiled where they landed, steam rising like ghosts. The whispers came, loud and sharp, not in his head but all around, like the air itself spoke. "Look up," they said. "See the truth." Jack looked, and his breath caught. The stars weren't just stars. They moved, swirling into shapes, eyes, tentacles, faces, too vast to hold. The map burned in his hands, its stars matching the skies, lines forming a path to a void where light died. The boat rocked, and below, the sea glowed, not green, but gold, like molten metal. Shapes rose, huge, slow, with limbs that stretched and curled. Not the shadows from before, but something older, bigger, their bodies shimmering like the night. Sky, one surfaced, close to the boat. Its face was a galaxy, eyes like stars, mouth a black hole. It didn't speak, but the whispers did, their voices a chorus. "You are chosen," they said, "brother of the deep." They called him to join, to swim with them through seas of stars, to know secrets no human could hold. Jack's mind buzzed, tempted. Knowledge, power, eternity, it was all there, in their eyes. But his heart screamed, remembering the captain's diary. The boat rose to doom. He gripped the oars, fighting the boat's pull. It resisted, rocking hard, waves slapping the sides. "No!" he shouted, voice lost in the meteor storm. The boat fought, but Jack rowed, arms burning, forcing it back toward Eldridge. The shapes sank, their glow fading, but the whispers stayed, promising more. The meteors slowed, the sky calming, but the stars remained wrong, too bright, too close. By dawn, Jack reached the dock, legs weak, hands blistered. The town was awake, fishermen staring at the sky, their faces pale. "Storm's coming," one muttered. But Jack knew it wasn't just a storm. The stars had shifted, and something was waking. He hid in his room, the map and slab humming. Under his bed. Sleep brought nightmares, the galaxy-faced being pulling him into a void, stars screaming as he fell. He woke to shouts. Eldridge was in chaos, boats overturned, nets torn, fish dead on the shore, their eyes white and empty. Townsfolk gathered, whispering of curses, of old legends. Old Harper found Jack at the market, his eyes wild. "You saw the stars, didn't you?" he growled. "Happens every 100 years. They shift and the old ones stir." He spoke of tales Jack hadn't heard, beings from beyond, trapped in the sea, waking when stars aligned. Their boats chose souls to free them or feed them. Jack ran home, Harper's words heavy. His mom was at the door, face gray. "The sea's angry," she said. "Stay inside." He nodded, but the map's pull was stronger. That night, he spread it out, candlelight making the stars dance. The lines had changed, pointing closer, to a place in the sea he could reach. The slab's runes glowed, matching the map, and visions came. A city of crystal and bone, hidden under waves, where beings waited, their eyes like the sky. He resisted the boat, staying home, but the town grew darker. Shadows moved in the fog, not just at sea, but in alleys, behind houses. Townsfolk locked doors, prayed at the old church, its steeple crooked like a warning. Jack's mom watched him, silent, her hands twisting her apron. He wanted to burn the map, the slab, everything, but his hands wouldn't move. The next night, the stars pulsed again, brighter. Jack couldn't stay away. He snuck to the dock, the boat waiting, its carvings alive in the starlight. It rowed fast, to a spot where the sea was black, no waves, no sound. Below, lights flickered, cities, or something like them, glowing through the deep. The whispers sang, louder, telling of cosmic tides, of souls carried to stars. Jack saw himself in the visions, rowing forever, his body changing, becoming one with the sea. He fought back, rowing hard, the boat shaking under his will. It turned, slow at first, then fast, racing to shore. The lights below faded, but the whispers followed, soft and patient. "You'll return," they said. At the dock, Jack tied the boat, ropes tight, but he knew it didn't matter. The boat was free, always, home. He hid the map, its glow dimming. The slab hummed, runes pulsing. He drew what he saw, cities, beings, stars, his pencil scratching. Until dawn. The drawings were alive, eyes staring from the page. Sleep brought more nightmares. The sea splitting, beings rising, their tentacles wrapping the town. Morning was gray, the town quieter. Fishermen stayed ashore, their boats untouched. Jack helped his mom, avoiding her eyes. The star's pull lingered, a weight in his chest. He knew the boat would call again, and he'd go. The map was a chain, the slab a key, the boat his fate. Eerie. Dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, untied, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low chant, like voices under the water, calling his name. The stars above pulsed, and Jack felt them in his blood. The Gothic town, the endless sea, the cursed map, they were his world now, pulling him to a night that never ended. Chapter 6. The pull of the unknown, Jack's world was shrinking. Eldridge, with its fog-choked streets and Gothic houses leaning, like weary giants, felt like a cage. The boat's pull was a chain around his heart, tightening each night. The map, book, diary, and stone slab under his bed hummed, their voices blending with the whispers from the deep. The strange stars from last night still burned in his mind, pulsing, too many, forming shapes that weren't meant for human eyes. The sea was no longer just water. It was a door to something vast and terrifying. Jack felt it calling, not just from the dock but from inside him, like a tide in his blood. He stayed away from the boat for 2 days, helping his mom bake bread or mend nets, but his hands shook and his eyes kept drifting to the cliff's edge. The town was tense, fishermen staying ashore after the meteor storm and dead fish washing up. Whispers about Jack grew. Cursed boy, sea-touched, doomed. His mom's face was a mask of worry, her eyes red from crying. "Stay home, Jack," she begged at supper, her voice thin. "The sea's not right." He nodded, lying again, hating himself for it. The truth was too heavy, boats that rode themselves, maps to starseas, shadows that sang of cosmic gods. That night, the pull was a fire in his gut. He waited until his mom's snores filled the house, then grabbed his coat and a knife, not sure why. The fog was thick, swallowing the path to the dock. The boat waited, untied, its carvings glinting under a moon too big, too red. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like a drum. "Take me where you want," he said, voice low. The oars moved, silent, pulling the boat into the black sea. Waves crashed, but the boat glided smooth, cutting through like it knew the way. The sea was different tonight, heavy and still, like it held secrets too big to move. The stars above were wrong again, swirling into spirals that matched the maps. Jack didn't look at it. He didn't need to. Its lines were burned into his mind, pointing to places beyond the world. The boat rode for hours, past the reef, past the trench, into waters no map charted. Time slipped, stretching and bending. Jack's stomach growled, but hunger didn't touch him. The boat fed him visions, flashes of galaxies where stars bled, seas that stretched across voids, creatures swimming through light. The whispers came, soft at first, then loud, like a chorus in his head. "You are ours," they said. "Row to the unknown." They told of beings older than time, trapped in Earth's seas, waiting for chosen souls to free them. Jack was chosen, but the word felt like a curse. The boat stopped, sudden in a patch of sea so black it swallowed the star's light. Below, nothing moved, no shadows, no glow. Just darkness, deep and endless. Jack leaned over, knife tight in his hand, seeing his face in the water. His eyes were wrong, too bright, like the stars. Then a shape loomed in the fog. A ship, old and broken, its sails torn, hull cracked. It floated, but no crew moved on deck. The boat rowed closer, and Jack's skin prickled. The ship was dead, but alive in a wrong way, like the boat. He tied his boat to it, hands shaking, and climbed aboard. The deck creaked, wood soft with rot. Skeletons lay scattered, their bones glowing faintly green. At the helm stood a figure, a captain, or what was left of one. His skull grinned, eyes gone, but his hands clutched a wheel that turned on its own. Jack's breath caught. The whisper spoke. "He rode, like you." The captain's skeleton moved, head turning to face Jack. A voice, not the whispers, came from it, dry as dust. "The boat chooses," it said, "but choice dooms." Jack stumbled back, knife raised, but the skeleton didn't move again. In the captain's coat, a paper stuck out, yellowed and torn. Jack grabbed it, a letter, written in the same strange tongue as the map. He stuffed it in his pocket, heart racing. The boat pulled him back, rowing fast, as if scared. The ghost ship faded into fog, but the skeleton's words stayed. Jack felt the sea watching, its darkness alive. The whispers returned, promising power, knowledge, a place among the stars. "Join us," they said. "Leave the small world." Jack's mind buzzed, tempted, but fear was stronger. He gripped the oars, forcing the boat toward shore. It fought, rocking hard, but he won, arms burning, knife still in hand. Dawn was breaking when he reached the dock, gray and cold. He tied the boat, ropes tight, but knew it was pointless. The boat was free, always. He ran home, hiding the letter with the map and slab. Sleep didn't come, visions did. He saw the ghost ship's crew, alive once, rowing to a void where stars died. They changed, their bodies twisting, becoming sea things, their souls trapped in boats like his. Morning brought no peace. Jack left a note for his mom, gone fishing, and stayed out, avoiding her eyes. The town was darker, its Gothic houses looming like judges. Fishermen shunned him, their mutters sharp as knives. Old Harper caught him by the dock, eyes wild. "You saw the dead ship, didn't you?" he growled. "It's a sign. The old ones are close." He spoke of legends, ships cursed to row forever, carrying souls to feed cosmic gods. Jack pulled away, silent, but Harper's words were chains. At home, Jack read the letter. It was the captain's, from a ship called Moon's Grief, dated centuries back. He wrote of finding a boat, like Jack's, and following it to a sea of stars. The whispers promised him eternity, but took his crew, his mind, his soul. "The unknown pulls," he wrote, "but it's a lie." Jack's hands shook. He wanted to burn everything, the map, the letter, the slab, but his hands wouldn't move. Night fell, and the pull was stronger. Jack resisted, staying in his room. But the boat's hum was in his blood. He went to the dock, fog thick as wool. The boat waited, carvings alive in the moonlight. It rowed slow to a place where the sea was glass, reflecting stars that swirled into faces. The whispers sang of cosmic tides, of souls carried to voids where gods slept. Jack saw himself in the visions, rowing forever, his body wood and water, his eyes stars. He fought back, rowing hard, the boat shaking under his will. It turned, slow, then fast, racing to shore. The visions faded, but the whispers stayed, patient. "You'll return," they said. At the dock, Jack stumbled out, knife falling to the planks. He ran home, barring the door, but the hum followed, vibrating in the walls. Sleep brought nightmares. The ghost ship sinking, its crew screaming, their bodies twisting into tentacles. Jack woke, sweating, the letter's words in his head. Choice. Dooms. He drew what he saw, ships, stars, sea gods, his pencil scratching until dawn. The drawings were alive, faces staring from the page. Morning was gray, the town silent. Jack helped his mom, avoiding her questions. The sea was calm, but he felt its pull, stronger now. The map glowed under his bed, the slab hummed, the letter burned. He knew he'd go back. The boat was his master now. At dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, untied, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low moan like the sea crying. The stars pulsed, and Jack felt them in his soul. The Gothic town, the cursed boat, the unknown. They were his fate, pulling him to a place he couldn't escape. Chapter 7. Visions in the fog. Jack was drowning in Eldridge's fog, not just the kind that hung over the town, but the one clouding his mind. The boat's pull was a rope around his soul, tightening with every heartbeat. The map, book, diary, slab, and now the captain's letter, hidden under his bed, hummed like a swarm of bees, their voices blending with the whispers from the deep. The ghost ship from last night, its skeletal captain warning of doom, lingered in his thoughts. The strange stars, the sea's secrets, the visions of cosmic gods, they were changing him, making him less Jack and more something else. The town felt smaller, its Gothic houses leaning in, their windows like eyes watching him. Fishermen avoided him, their mutters sharp, cursed, mad, sea-touched. His mom's face was a ghost's, pale and drawn, her hands trembling as she kneaded bread. "You're slipping away," she said at breakfast, voice barely a whisper. "What's got you, Jack?" He wanted to tell her about the boat, the map, the voices, but his throat locked. Lies were all he had. "Just tired," he mumbled, hating the hurt in her eyes. That day, the fog was thicker, swallowing the cliffs and docks. Jack stayed home, fixing nets, but his hands shook and his eyes kept drifting to the sea. The pull was stronger, a knife in his gut, twisting. By dusk, he couldn't fight it. He waited until his mom slept, then grabbed his coat and the knife, its blade cold against his skin. The fog was alive, curling around him as he walked the path to the dock. its damp fingers brushing his face. The boat waited, untied, its carvings glowing faintly under a moon hidden by clouds. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like a storm. "Show me more," he said, voice low. The oars moved, silent, pulling the boat into the Black Sea. The fog thickened, hiding the stars, but Jack felt them, pulsing like the maps. The boat rode slow, deliberate, through waves that whispered secrets. Then the fog changed. It shimmered, glowing faint green like the sea's depths. Visions came, not in his head but in the fog itself, like pictures painted on mist. He saw his dad years ago caught in a storm. Waves towered, lightning cracked, and there was the boat, dark, carved, rowing itself. It circled his dad's sinking ship, not saving him but watching, its oars steady. His dad's face was wild, screaming as water swallowed him. The vision shifted. Jack's future, his body twisting, skin turning to scales, eyes glowing like stars. He rode through seas of light, a monster among monsters, serving gods with tentacle faces. Then the present, Eldridge crumbling, houses sinking into fog, townsfolk turning to shadows with too many eyes. Jack gasped, gripping the boat's sides. The visions faded, but the fog stayed thick, alive. The whispers spoke, soft and cold. "See, your path," they said. "Past, future, now, all one." The boat stopped, floating in a sea so still it was wrong. Below, lights flickered, cities of crystal and bone, like the ones in his visions. Shapes moved, slow and vast, their tentacles brushing the surface, sending ripples that glowed. He clutched the knife, wanting to fight, but what? The boat? The sea? Himself? The fog pressed closer, showing new visions. A boy like him, centuries ago, rowing the same boat, his eyes wide with terror as shadows pulled him down. Another, a woman, her body merging with the sea, becoming a thing of fins and claws. The whispers laughed. "All chosen," they said. "All row." Jack's mind reeled. He rowed, forcing the oars, but the boat resisted, rocking hard. "Take me back," he shouted, voice lost in the fog. The boat obeyed, slow at first, then faster, cutting through waves. The visions followed, flashing in the mist. His mom crying. The town sinking, stars falling like rain. He reached the dock at dawn, legs weak, knife slipping from his hand. The fog hid him as he tied the boat, ropes useless against its will. Home, he barred his door, heart racing. The map and slab hummed under his bed, the letters' words burning. Choice dooms. He didn't sleep, couldn't. The visions stayed, etched in his mind. He drew them. His dad's ship, his own monster face, Eldridge's ruin, his pencil scratching until his hand cramped. The drawings were alive, eyes staring from the page, like the boat's carvings. Morning was gray, the town quiet. Jack avoided. His mom, helping silently, her worry a weight he couldn't carry. The fog lingered, heavier, and townsfolk locked doors, their faces pale. Fishermen stayed ashore, nets untouched. Jack felt the boat's pull, stronger now, a tide in his blood. He went to old Harper, the lighthouse keeper, desperate for answers. Harper was at the cliff, staring at the sea, his face carved with worry. "You saw something, didn't you?" he growled, not looking at Jack. "Visions in the fog?" Jack nodded, throat tight. Harper spat, eyes dark. "That boat's a vessel for the old ones, boy. Been here since the world was young. It rose souls to them, to feed their hunger. Your dad saw it too. Never came back." Jack's heart stopped. His dad? Harper's words were a knife. "How do you know?" he asked, voice shaking. Harper turned, eyes like storms. "Seen it myself long ago. Didn't take the bait. You should have burned that map." He walked away, leaving Jack alone with the fog and the sea's low hum. Home, Jack pulled out the map. Its stars glowed, lines twisting to a new place. Closer now. The slab's runes pulsed, matching the map, and visions came again, a cosmic sea, boats rowing through stars, gods waking in the deep. He slammed the map shut, hiding it. But the pull was stronger. The boat was his master, the fog its ally. That night he resisted, staying in his room, knife in hand. The fog pressed against his window, showing flashes, his dad's face, his own future, the town's end. The whispers sang, promising knowledge, power, a place among the stars. "Join us," they said. Jack clutched the knife, wanting to cut the pull out of him. He went to the dock, fog so thick he could barely see. The boat waited, carvings alive, eyes watching. It rode slow to a place where the sea was black, no waves, just silence. The fog glowed again, showing his dad's last moments, reaching for the boat, then sinking, his eyes glowing like Jack's. The whispers laughed. "He chose," they said. "You will too." Jack fought the oars, forcing the boat back. It shook, angry, but obeyed, racing to shore. At the dock, he stumbled out, fog wrapping him like a shroud. Home, he barred the door, but the visions followed, in every shadow, every creak. He drew them, pages filling with horrors, his dad's glowing eyes, his own scaled hands, the town sinking into the sea. Morning came, fog thicker, town quieter. Jack's mom watched him, silent, her hands twisting her apron. "Stay," she whispered, but he couldn't promise. The map hummed, the slab pulsed, the letter burned. The boat was his fate, pulling him to the unknown. At dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, untied, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low wail, like the sea morning. The stars pulsed, and Jack felt them in his soul. The Gothic town, the cursed boat, the fog's visions, they were his world now, dragging him to a place he couldn't escape. Chapter 8. Secrets of the Abyss. Jack was unraveling, his mind a tangle of fear and wonder. The boat's pull was a chain, its links forged from the map, book, diary, slab, and letter hidden under his bed. Each hummed, alive, their voices mixing with the whispers from the deep and the visions in the fog. Eldridge's Gothic houses loomed like judges, their crooked spires piercing the fog that never lifted. The sea was no longer just water. It was a gate to something vast, something that knew Jack's name. The visions of his dad's death, his own monstrous future, and the town's ruin haunted him, making sleep impossible. The boat waited at the dock, its carvings watching, calling. The town was a ghost of itself. Fishermen stayed ashore, their boats rotting, nets untouched. Townsfolk whispered, "Cursed boy, sea doomed, touched by the old ones." Jack's mom was a shadow, her eyes hollow, her hands shaking as she mended clothes. "You're not my boy anymore," she said at supper, voice cracking. Jack wanted to tell her everything, the boat, the visions, the voices, but fear locked his throat. "I'm fine," he lied, the words sour. Her silence hurt worse than her questions. That night, the pull was a storm in his blood. The fog was thicker, glowing faintly green, like the sea in his visions. Jack waited until his mom slept, her snores soft, then grabbed his knife and coat. The path to the dock was a tunnel of mist, rocks slick under his boots. The boat sat untied, its dark wood gleaming, carvings of eyes and swirls alive in the moonlight. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like waves on the cliff. "Take me deeper," he whispered, not sure why. The oars moved, silent, pulling the boat into the black sea. The water was calm, too calm, a mirror reflecting stars that pulsed wrong. Too many, too bright, swirling into shapes like the maps. The boat rode far, past the reef, past the trench, into a sea no fisherman knew. Time bent, hours slipping like sand. Jack's hunger faded, replaced by visions, galaxies bleeding, seas stretching across voids, creatures with tentacle faces swimming through light. The whispers came, loud and wet, like voices from drowned throats. "To the abyss," they said. "Know the secrets." The boat dove, sudden and sharp, plunging below the surface. Jack gasped, expecting water to flood in, but the boat stayed dry, sealed by some strange force. Down they went, through water black as ink, past fish with glowing eyes, past wrecks of ships older than history. The deeper they sank, the colder it got, but the boat was warm, its wood pulsing like a heart. Jack clutched his knife, fear mixing with wonder. Lights flickered below, cities of crystal and bone, their spires twisted, glowing with a sickly blue. The boat stopped, hovering over a chasm so deep it swallowed light. Eyes glowed in the dark, huge, unblinking, like stars trapped in the sea. Shapes moved, vast and slow, their tentacles stretching miles, their bodies shimmering like galaxies. They weren't shadows or creatures. They were gods, old as time, their presence crushing Jack's mind. The whispers roared, a chorus in his head. "You are here," they said. "See the truth." Visions flooded him. The earth young, stars falling like rain, beings crashing into seas, their cities sinking. They were banished, trapped by cosmic enemies, their power locked in boats like Jack's. The boats chose souls, curious, brave, foolish, to carry them back to the stars. Jack was chosen, but the price was his humanity. The beings spoke, their voices shaking the water. "Join us," they said. "Know all, past, present, future. Be more than man." Jack's mind buzzed, tempted. Knowledge flooded him, secrets of creation, the birth of stars, the death of worlds. He saw himself, eyes glowing, body shifting, rowing through cosmic seas with these gods. Power, eternity, it was his for the taking. But the captain's letter burned in his memory. Choice dooms. His dad's glowing eyes, sinking in the storm, flashed in his mind. Fear won. "No," Jack shouted, voice muffled in the abyss. He gripped the oars, but they wouldn't move. The boat shook, angry, as if the gods controlled it. The eyes below glowed brighter, their gaze pulling at his soul. Jack swung his knife, wild, cutting the air, the boat himself. Blood dripped, warm on his hand, and the boat lurched, rising fast, breaking the surface with a splash. The sea was wild now, waves towering, stars pulsing above. The boat rowed hard, back toward Eldridge, as if fleeing. The whispers faded, but their secrets stayed, burning in Jack's mind. He saw the cosmic wars, the banished gods, the boat's purpose. His blood felt different, heavier, like it carried the abyss. At the dock, dawn was gray, fog thick as wool. Jack tied the boat, hands shaking, knife slick with blood. He stumbled home, hiding the knife under his bed with the map and slab. Sleep didn't come, visions did. He saw the chasm again, the god's eyes, his own body changing. He drew them, pencil scratching, pages filling with tentacles, stars, cities under the sea. The drawings were alive, eyes watching, like the boats, carvings. Morning was quiet, the town dead. Fishermen locked their doors, the market empty. Jack's mom watched him silent, her face a mask of grief. "Stay home," she whispered, but he couldn't promise. The abyss's secrets were in him now, changing his blood, his bones. He avoided her eyes, helping with chores, but his hands shook, and the hum was louder, vibrating in the walls. Desperate, Jack went to old Harper at the lighthouse. The old man stood by the cliff, staring at the sea, his face carved with fear. "You went deep, didn't you?" he growled, not looking at Jack. "Saw the old ones." Jack nodded, throat tight. Harper spat, eyes dark. "They offer knowledge, but it's a trap." "Your dad saw him too, chose wrong." Jack's heart twisted. "What do I do?" he asked, voice breaking. Harper shook his head. "Burn the boat, the map, all of it, or you're theirs." Home, Jack pulled out the map. Its stars glowed, lines pointing to the chasm. The slab's runes pulsed, matching the map, and visions came. The gods rising, seas boiling, stars falling. He slammed the map shut, but the secrets stayed, heavy in his mind. He wanted to burn everything, but his hands wouldn't move. The boat's pull was stronger, a tide in his soul. That night, he resisted, barring his door, knife in hand. The fog pressed against his window, glowing green, showing visions. his dad sinking, his own body twisting. The town swallowed by the sea. The whispers sang, promising more secrets, more power. "Come back," they said. Jack clutched the knife, wanting to cut the pull out. He went to the dock, fog so thick he could barely see. The boat waited, carvings alive, eyes glowing. It rode slow, to a place where the sea was black, no waves, just silence. The fog glowed, showing the chasm's eyes, the gods' tentacles. The whispers laughed. "You are ours," they said. Jack fought the oars, forcing the boat back. It shook, angry, but obeyed, racing to shore. At the dock, Jack stumbled out, knife falling. He ran home, barring the door, but the visions followed, in every shadow, every creak. He drew them, gods, seas, stars, pages filling with horrors. The town was darker, its Gothic houses alive, their windows watching. Morning came, fog thicker, town silent. Jack's mom begged him to stay, her voice a whisper. He nodded, lying, the abyss's secrets burning in him. The map hummed, the slab pulsed, the letter warned. The boat was his fate, pulling him to the deep. At dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, untied, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low pulse, like the abyss breathing. The stars pulsed, and Jack felt them in his blood. The Gothic town, the cursed boat, the abyss's secrets, they were his world, dragging him to a place he couldn't escape. Chapter 9. Betrayal by the waves. Jack was a stranger in his own skin. The boat's pull was a living thing, coiled around. His heart, its grip, tightening with every breath. The map, book, diary, slab, and letter under his bed pulsed like a second heartbeat, their voices weaving with the whispers from the abyss. The visions of the gods, those vast, tentacled beings with eyes like stars, burned in his mind, their secrets changing him. His blood felt thick, his eyes too bright, as if the sea had seeped into him. Eldridge's Gothic houses loomed darker, their crooked spires cutting through fog that glowed faintly green, alive with menace. The town was dying. Fishermen abandoned their boats, nets rotting on the shore. Dead fish piled up, their eyes white, mouths gaping. Townsfolk locked doors, their whispers sharp. Cursed boy, sea-doomed, servant of the deep. Jack's mom was a ghost of herself, her face pale, hands trembling as she stirred soup. "You're gone, Jack," she whispered at breakfast, tears falling. "What's taken you?" He wanted to confess, the boat, the abyss, the gods, but his voice failed. "I'm here," he lied, the words ash in his mouth. Her silence was a knife. The pull was unbearable now, a storm in his bones. Jack stayed home 2 days, avoiding the dock, but the sea's hum followed him, vibrating in the walls. The fog was thicker, pressing against windows, showing flashes of visions, his dad sinking, his own body twisting, Eldridge swallowed by waves. That night, he couldn't fight it. He waited until his mom slept, her snores faint, then grabbed his knife and coat. The path to the dock was a tunnel of mist, rocks slick under his boots. The boat waited, untied, its carvings alive, eyes watching, in the moonlight. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like thunder. "Why me?" he asked, voice breaking. The oars moved, silent, pulling the boat into the Black Sea. The waves were wild, crashing like beasts, but the boat cut through, steady as stone. The stars above pulsed, too many, forming spirals like the maps. Jack didn't need to check it. Its lines were carved in his mind, pointing to the abyss. The whispers came, loud and wet, like drowned voices. "You are ours," they said. Row to the deep. The boat rowed far, past the reef, past the trench, into waters that felt alive, heavy with secrets. The fog glowed green, curling like tentacles. Then the sea turned against him. Waves rose, towering, slamming the boat. The oars fought, jerking against Jack's hands. The boat wanted deeper, to the chasm where the gods waited. Jack gripped, the knife, fear mixing with anger. "No!" he shouted, rowing hard, but the waves pushed back, stronger, like the sea itself betrayed him. A storm broke, sudden and fierce. Lightning cracked, showing shapes in the clouds, faces vast and cold, with eyes like the abyss. The whispers laughed, mocking. "You cannot fight," they said. "The sea chooses." The boat spun, caught in a whirlpool, waves dragging it down. Jack's arms burned, fighting the oars, but the boat resisted, its wood groaning like a living thing. He saw it then. The boat wasn't just a vessel. It was a servant, loyal to the gods, using him as bait. Through the storm, a light flickered, a fishing boat not far, its lantern swinging. Jack recognized it. Tom and Will, friends from town, out searching for him. "Jack!" they shouted, voices faint over the roar. He waved, hope flaring, but the waves turned crueler. A wave, black and massive, rose behind their boat, curling like a claw. Jack screamed, "Go back!" But it was too late. The wave crashed, swallowing their boat. The lantern snuffed out. Silence followed, broken only by the whisper's laughter. Jack's heart broke. The boat steadied, rowing deeper, as if pleased. Guilt crushed him. Tom and Will were gone because of him, because the sea wanted him alone. He swung his knife, wild, cutting the boat's side. Blood-red sap oozed from the wood, and the boat shuddered, slowing. "Let me go!" Jack yelled, rowing with all his strength. The boat fought, rocking hard, but his will was stronger. It turned, slow, then fast, racing toward shore through the dying storm. At the dock, dawn was gray, fog thick as wool. Jack stumbled out, knife slick with sap and his own blood. He tied the boat, ropes shaking in his hands, but knew it was useless. The sea's betrayal was his fault. He ran home, barring the door, hiding the knife with the map and slab. Sleep didn't come. Guilt did. Visions of Tom and Will's boat sinking, their faces pale, eyes accusing, filled his mind. He drew them, pencil scratching, pages filling with waves, faces, the boat's glowing eyes. Morning was silent, the town dead. No one spoke of Tom and Will, but their absence was a wound. Jack's mom watched him, eyes red, saying nothing. He helped with chores, avoiding her gaze, the guilt heavy as stone. The fog lingered, glowing faintly, showing flashes. Tom sinking, Jack's scaled hands, the god's eyes. The whispers stayed, soft and cruel. "You led them," they said. "You'll lead more." Desperate, Jack went to old Harper at the lighthouse. The old man stood by the cliff, face grim. "You lost him, didn't you?" he growled, eyes on the sea. "The boat uses you, boy. Bait for the old ones." Jack's throat tightened. "How do I stop it?" he asked, voice breaking. Harper spat, eyes dark. "You don't. Your dad tried. Sea took him. Burn the boat, or it'll take you too." He walked away, leaving Jack with the fog and the sea's hum. Home, Jack pulled out the map. Its stars glowed, lines pointing to the chasm. The slab's runes pulsed, matching the map, and visions came. The gods rising, waves swallowing the world, Jack rowing forever as a monster. He slammed the map shut, but the guilt and secret stayed, burning in his blood. He wanted to burn the boat, the map, everything, but his hands shook, frozen. That night, he resisted, barring his door, knife in hand. The fog pressed against his window, glowing green, showing Tom and Will's faces, their eyes white. The whispers sang, promising power, absolution. "Join us," they said. No more guilt. Jack clutched the knife, wanting to cut the sea out of him. He went to the dock, fog so thick he could barely see. The boat waited, carvings alive, eyes glowing. It rowed slow to a place where the sea was black. No waves, just silence. The fog glowed, showing the chasm's eyes, the god's tentacles. The whispers laughed. "You brought them," they said. "You'll bring all." Jack fought the oars, forcing the boat back. It shook, angry, but obeyed, racing to shore. At the dock, Jack stumbled out, knife falling. He ran home, barring the door, but the visions followed. Tom and Will sinking, the gods watching, Eldridge drowning. He drew them, pages filling with horrors, waves, eyes, his own twisted face. The town was darker, its Gothic houses alive, their windows accusing. Morning came, fog thicker, town silent. Jack's mom begged him to stay, her voice a whisper. He nodded, lying, the sea's betrayal burning in him. The map hummed, the slab pulsed, the letter warned. The boat was his curse, pulling him to the deep. At dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, untied, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low scream like the sea raging. The stars pulsed, and Jack felt them in his soul. The Gothic town, the cursed boat, the betraying waves, they were his fate, dragging him to a place he couldn't escape. Chapter 10. Awakening the Old Ones. Jack was no longer just Jack. The boat's pull had woven itself into his blood, a tide that surged with every heartbeat. The map, book, diary, slab, and letter under his bed were alive, their hum a constant drone, blending with the whispers from the abyss. The betrayal of the waves, swallowing Tom and Will, crushed him with guilt. But the sea's call was stronger, a siren song he couldn't ignore. Eldridge's Gothic houses stood like tombstones in the fog, their windows dark, accusing. The town was a husk, fishermen gone, shops closed, streets silent. The sea had won, and Jack was its pawn. His mom's face was a mask of grief, her eyes hollow as she watched him over breakfast. "You're lost," she whispered, hands trembling on her cup. Jack wanted to comfort her, to say he'd stay, but the words were lies he couldn't speak. The abyss's secrets, gods with tentacle faces, cosmic wars, boats rowing to stars, burned in him, changing his blood, his bones. He was becoming something else, something the sea wanted. That night, the stars aligned, brighter and stranger than ever. Jack saw them from his window, pulsing in patterns that matched the maps, forming eyes and spirals that hurt to look at. The pull was a fire, scorching his soul. He waited until his mom slept, her snores faint, then grabbed his knife and the book from the cave, its leather cover warm, carvings alive. The fog was thick, glowing green as he walked to the dock. The boat waited, untied, its eyes watching, glinting under a sky alive with wrong stars. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like a drum. "Show me the end," he said, voice steady despite his fear. The oars moved, silent, pulling the boat into a sea black as night. Waves were calm, but the air was heavy like before a storm. The stars pulsed faster, their light cold, unnatural. The boat rode far, past the reef, past the trench, to the chasm where the gods slept. The map in his pocket burned, its lines pointing down to the abyss. The whispers came, loud and wet, a chorus of drowned voices. "Awaken them," they said. "Free the old ones." The boat stopped over the chasm, water still, reflecting stars that swirled into faces. Jack opened the book, its pages glowing, words in that strange tongue moving like water. He read aloud, not knowing why, his voice shaking but strong. The words weren't his. They came from the book, from the sea, from the stars. Each syllable vibrated, shaking the boat, the water, the air. Below, the chasm answered. Lights flickered, blue, green, gold, spreading like fire. Tentacles rose, massive, each thicker than a ship, covered in eyes that blinked in patterns. The sea boiled, waves rising, crashing against the boat. The stars above cracked, light spilling like blood, forming a rift in the sky. The gods stirred, their presence a weight on Jack's mind, crushing his thoughts. The whispers roared, "You are the key, awaken them fully." Visions flooded him, the old ones rising, seas swallowing lands, stars falling to earth. He saw himself, eyes glowing, body half wood, half sea, rowing through cosmic voids with these gods. Power surged in him, knowledge of creation, destruction, eternity. He could be more than human, a servant of the stars. But the diary's warning echoed. Choice, Dooms. Tom and Will's faces, sinking in the waves, burned in his guilt. Jack stopped reading, slamming the book shut. The sea screamed, waves towering, the boat spinning in a whirlpool. The tentacles reached higher, brushing the boat, their touch cold. Electric. The star's rift widened, showing a void where light died. Jack's knife shook in his hand. "No," he shouted, voice lost in the chaos. He swung the knife, cutting the boat's side. Blood-red sap oozed, and the boat shrieked, wood splintering, cracking apart. The tentacles froze, eyes narrowing, then sank, the sea calming, the rift closing. Jack clung to a plank, the boat gone, waves tossing him. He swam, arms burning, toward a shore he couldn't see. Hours passed, or days. Time was broken. He washed. Up on Eldridge's beach, gasping, knife gone, book lost in the sea. The fog was thick, hiding the stars, but their pulse lingered in his blood. He stumbled home, barring the door, guilt and fear choking him. Sleep brought nightmares. The gods rising, their tentacles wrapping the world, his own body twisting into theirs. He woke, sweating, the map and slab humming under his bed. He drew. The visions, tentacles, stars, the rift, pages filling with horrors. The drawings were alive, eyes watching, like the boat's carvings. Morning was gray, the town silent. Jack's mom was gone, searching for him, he knew. The guilt was a stone in his chest. He searched for her, finding her at the cliff, staring at the sea. "You were out there," she whispered, not looking at him. "I felt it." He hugged her, silent, unable to lie. The town was dead, houses empty, fog thicker. Fishermen's boats were gone, swallowed by the sea. Jack went to Old Harper, desperate. The lighthouse keeper stood by the cliff, face grim. "You woke him, didn't you?" he growled. "Felt the sea shake. Your dad tried too, paid the price." Jack's throat tightened. "I stopped it," he said, voice breaking. Harper spat, eyes dark. "You didn't stop nothing. The boat'll come back, always does." Home, Jack pulled out the map. Its stars glowed, lines pointing to the chasm. The slab's runes pulsed, and visions came, the gods stirring, not fully awake but closer now. He hid the map, hands shaking, but the pull was stronger, a tide in his soul. The boat was gone, but Harper was right. It would return. He felt it in his blood. That night he stayed home, barring the door, but the fog glowed green, showing visions, the chasm's eyes, the rift's void, his own scaled hands. The whispers sang, softer now, patient. "You began it," they said. "You'll finish it." Jack clutched the slab, wanting to smash it, but his hands froze. He went to the dock, fog thick, expecting nothing. But there it was, the boat. Rebuilt, its wood whole, carvings alive. It rocked gently, untied, waiting. Jack didn't climb in, but the pull was a knife, twisting. He ran home, barring the door, but the visions followed. Gods rising, seas boiling, his own body changing. Morning came, fog heavier, town silent. Jack's mom watched him, eyes wet. "Stay," she whispered, but he couldn't promise. The map hummed, the slab pulsed, the diary warned. The boat was his fate, pulling him to the abyss. At dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low chant like the sea praying. The stars pulsed, and Jack felt them in his soul. The Gothic town, the cursed boat, the awakening gods. They were his world, dragging him to a place he couldn't escape. Chapter 11. The endless road. Jack was no longer just a boy from Eldridge. The boat's pull had woven itself into his very being, a tide that surged through his veins, binding him to the sea. The map, diary, stone slab, and letter hidden under his bed pulsed like a living heart, their hum blending with the whispers from the abyss. The night he'd awakened the old ones, chanting from the book as the sea boiled and stars cracked, had changed him. His skin felt tight, his eyes too bright, as if the gods' gaze lingered in him. The boat, shattered by his knife, had rebuilt itself, its dark wood whole, carvings of eyes and swirls watching him. Eldridge was a ghost town, its Gothic houses crumbling under fog that glowed green, alive with menace. The sea was his world now, and it wanted him back. The town was dead. Fishermen's boats were gone, swallowed by waves. Townsfolk hid, their whispers silent, replaced by fear. Jack's mom was a shadow, her face pale, eyes red from crying. "You're not mine anymore," she whispered at breakfast, hands shaking as she gripped a spoon. Jack wanted to hold her, to promise he'd stay, but the sea's pull was stronger. "I'm trying," he said, voice breaking, the lie bitter. She turned away, silent, and the guilt was a stone in his chest. The stars were wrong again, pulsing in spirals that matched the maps. Jack felt them, even in daylight, calling him. The boat's hum was constant, vibrating in his bones. That night, he couldn't resist. He waited until his mom slept, her snores faint, then grabbed his knife and the map, its paper warm, glowing. The fog was thick, curling like tentacles as he walked to the dock. The boat waited, untied, its carvings alive, eyes glinting under a sky of swirling stars. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like waves on the cliff. "Take me where it ends," he said, voice steady despite the fear. The oars moved, silent, pulling, the boat into a sea black as night. Waves were calm, but the air was heavy, electric. The stars pulsed faster, forming faces, vast, cold, with eyes like the abyss. The map burned in his pocket, its lines pointing beyond the chasm, to a place where sea and sky merged. The boat rode far, past the reef, past the trench, into waters that felt alive, heavy with secrets. Time broke, stretching and looping. Jack saw visions, not in the fog, but in the sea itself, its surface a mirror showing other worlds. He saw galaxies spinning, stars bleeding, seas stretching across voids. Boats like his rode through them, carrying souls to gods with tentacle faces. The whispers came, loud and wet, a chorus of drowned voices. "Row forever," they said. "Join the endless tide." The boat stopped, floating in a sea so still it was wrong. Below, lights flickered, cities of crystal and bone, their spires twisted, glowing blue. Shapes moved, vast and slow, their tentacles brushing the surface. Jack's skin tingled, and he felt his body change. Fingers webbing, skin hardening like wood. He looked at his hands, seeing scales glint in the starlight. The map glowed, its stars moving, forming a loop that never ended. The whispers laughed. "You are ours," they said. "Row with us." Visions flooded him, time looping, boats rowing through centuries, souls trapped in endless journeys. He saw himself, not human but a thing of wood and sea, eyes glowing, rowing through cosmic voids. The gods watched, their tentacles wrapping stars, their hunger endless. Jack's mind reeled, tempted by the power, knowledge of all things. Oh, place among the stars. But the diary's warning echoed. Choice dooms. Tom and Will's faces, sinking in the waves, burned in his guilt. Jack gripped the knife, wanting to fight, but what? The boat? The sea? Himself? The boat rocked, and a new vision came. Eldridge gone, its houses sunk, the cliff crumbled into the sea. His mom stood alone, swallowed by waves, her eyes accusing. Jack screamed, swinging the knife, cutting the air. The boat shook, wood groaning, but didn't break. It rode faster, through seas that shifted, blue to black, then glowing gold, like molten stars. The boat took him to a place where sea and sky were one, a void where stars floated like fish. Boats appeared, dozens, all like his, rowing in circles, their carvings alive. Shadows manned them, not human, but half sea, half star, their eyes glowing. The whispers sang, "Join the row." Jack saw himself among them, rowing forever, his body wood, his soul trapped. He fought the oars, but they wouldn't move. The boat was stronger, pulling him into the void. Panic surged. Jack stabbed the boat, blood-red sap oozing. The boat screamed, a sound like breaking bones, and slowed. He rode, arms burning, forcing it back to Earth's sea. The void faded, stars dimming, but the whisper stayed, patient. "You'll return," they said. The boat reached the dock at dawn, fog thick, stars hidden. Jack stumbled out, knife slick with sap, and tied the boat, ropes useless against its will. Home, he barred the door, hiding the knife with the map. Sleep brought nightmares, rowing through voids, his body twisting, Eldridge sinking. He woke, sweating, the map's hum louder, the slab's runes pulsing. He drew the visions, boats, voids, his scaled hands, pages filling with horrors. The drawings were alive, eyes watching, like the boat's carvings. Morning was gray, the town gone. Houses stood empty, windows dark, fog swallowing the streets. Jack's mom was at the cliff staring at the sea. "You went again," she said, not looking at him. "I feel it." He hugged her, guilt choking him, unable to speak. She pulled away, eyes wet, and walked home alone. Jack went to Old Harper, desperate for answers. The lighthouse was dark. Harper at the cliff, face grim. "You saw the void, didn't you?" he growled. "The endless row. Your dad was there, trapped. You're next." Jack's throat tightened. "How do I stop it?" he asked, voice breaking. Harper spat, eyes dark. "You can't. The boat owns you. Burn it or row forever." He turned away, leaving Jack with the fog and the sea's hum. Home. Jack pulled out the map. Its stars glowed, lines forming loops, endless paths. The slab's runes pulsed, and visions came. Boats rowing through time, gods feeding on souls. Jack's body wood and sea. He hid the map, hands shaking, but the pull was stronger, a tide in his soul. He wanted to burn the boat, but his heart wouldn't let him. That night, he resisted, barring his door, knife in hand. The fog glowed green, showing visions. The void. Boats rowing, his mom sinking. The whispers sang, promising eternity. No guilt, no pain. "Join the row," they said. Jack clutched the knife, wanting to cut the sea out of him. He went to the dock, fog thick, expecting the boat. It was there, untied, carvings alive. It rode slow to a place where the sea was glass, reflecting stars that swirled into loops. The visions returned. Himself rowing, body changing, soul trapped. Jack fought the oars, forcing the boat back. It shook, angry, but obeyed, racing to shore. At the dock, Jack stumbled out, knife falling. He ran home, barring the door, but the visions followed. Voids, boats, his scaled face. He drew them, pages filling with horrors. The town was gone, its Gothic houses dust, the sea claiming all. Morning came, fog heavier, town silent. Jack's mom begged him to stay, her voice a whisper. He nodded, lying, the void's pull burning in him. The map hummed, the slab pulsed, the diary warned. The boat was his fate, pulling him to the endless row. At dusk, walking the beach, the fog parted. The boat was there, rocking gently. A new sound came, a low hum like the void singing. The stars pulsed, and Jack felt them in his soul. The Gothic town, the cursed boat, the endless row, they were his world, dragging him to a place he couldn't escape. Chapter 12. Eternal Darkness. Jack was no longer human. The boat's pull had fused with his soul, a tide that flowed through. His veins binding him to the sea and beyond. The map, diary, stone slab, and letter under his bed were alive, their hum a heartbeat that echoed the abyss. The endless row, the vision of boats circling through cosmic voids, manned by shadows with glowing eyes, had changed him. His skin was tight, faintly scaled. His eyes glowed faintly in the dark, reflecting stars that weren't Earth's. Eldridge was gone. Its Gothic houses crumbled into fog that glowed green, a shroud for a town swallowed by the sea. The boat, rebuilt after every shattering, waited at the dock, its carvings of eyes and swirls watching, calling him to the final journey. The town was a memory. No fishermen, no nets, no voices, only silence and fog. Jack's mom was a ghost. her face pale, eyes empty as she sat by the cliff, staring at the sea. "You're not my Jack," she whispered, voice breaking, hands clutching her shawl. He wanted to hold her, to say he'd fight the sea, but the words were gone. The abyss's secrets, gods with tentacle faces, cosmic wars, boats rowing through, stars, had taken him. "I'm sorry," he said, voice hollow, the only truth he could offer. She turned away, tears falling, and the guilt was a weight he couldn't carry. The stars were wrong, pulsing in spirals that matched the maps, forming eyes that watched from above. Jack felt them, day and night, pulling him. The boat's hum was his pulse now, vibrating in his bones. That night, he couldn't resist. He waited until his mom slept, her snores faint, then grabbed his knife and the map, its paper burning hot. The fog was thick, alive, curling like tentacles as he walked to the dock. The boat waited, untied, its carvings glowing, eyes alive under a sky of swirling stars. Jack climbed in, heart pounding like waves on the cliff. "Take me to the end," he said, voice steady, accepting his fate. The oars moved, silent, pulling the boat into a sea black as the void. The waves were still, the air heavy, electric with the god's presence. The stars pulsed faster, their light cold, forming faces, vast, ancient, with eyes like galaxies. The map burned in his pocket, its lines pointing beyond the chasm, to a place where sea and sky were one, a cosmic heart where the old ones waited. The end. Boat rode far, past the reef, past the trench, into waters that weren't Earth's. Time shattered, looping and twisting. Jack saw visions in the sea's surface, galaxies spinning, stars bleeding, seas stretching across voids. Boats like his rode through them, manned by shadows with scaled bodies, eyes glowing like his own. The whispers came, loud and wet, a chorus of drowned gods. "Join the eternal dark," they said. "Row to us." The boat stopped in a void where sea and sky merged, a place of no light, no sound, only darkness, alive with eyes. Below, the abyss opened, its chasm glowing blue, green, gold, colors of creation and destruction. Tentacles rose, massive, each a mountain, covered in eyes that blinked in patterns. The gods emerged, their bodies shimmering like galaxies, their presence crushing Jack's mind. The whispers roared, "You are home." Visions flooded him, the old ones free, seas boiling, stars falling, earth swallowed by cosmic tides. He saw himself, no longer human, body wood and sea, eyes stars, rowing through eternity with the gods. Power surged, knowledge of all things, past, present, future. He could be one with them, a piece of the eternal dark. No pain, no guilt, no fear. The diary's warning faded, choice dooms. Tom and Will's faces, his mom's tears, Eldridge's ruin. They dissolved in the god's gaze. Jack's knife fell useless to the boat's floor. He didn't fight. The boat rocked gently, as if pleased, and the gods reached out, tentacles, brushing his skin, cold and electric. His body changed faster, scales spreading, fingers webbing, heart slowing to match the sea's pulse. The map glowed, its stars merging with the sky, forming a path to the cosmic heart. The whispers sang, "You are ours, row forever." The boat moved, not by oars but by will, gliding through the void. Other boats joined, dozens, hundreds, all like his, rowing in circles, their carvings alive. Shadows manned them, their bodies like Jack's, scaled and glowing, souls trapped in eternal service. Jack felt no fear, only wonder. The gods spoke, their voices shaking the void. "You awakened us," they said. "You are the key." The sea parted, revealing a city, not of crystal or bone, but of stars, its spires light, its streets darkness. The gods led him there, their tentacles guiding the boat. Jack saw himself reflected in the void, not a boy, but a being of wood and sea, eyes like galaxies. He was home, part of the eternal dark, rowing through time, through stars, through nothing. Back in Eldridge, The fog swallowed the town. His mom stood at the cliff, alone, her cries lost in the wind. The dock was empty, the boat gone, as if it never existed. But it did, waiting in the void, seeking the next soul. Jack was gone, his drawings, tentacles, stars, his scaled face, scattered. In his room, the map and slab silent, their work done. The sea was calm, stars pulsing faintly, their light dimming. The gods slept again, sated, but their hunger would return. The boat would row again, choosing another, pulling them to the eternal. Dark. Jack's story ended, but the tide never stopped.